Jeff again with more blunt talk about Bernie. Let's deal with another one of those beliefs that impede progress. The middle of the road is the best course to take. This is another one of those beliefs that amount to a conditioned reflex in many responses we have in life. In your voting, though, it amounts to a disaster in the making, but let me explain that. I have one very regular practiced form of this habit myself. When I take short surveys about a service or a workshop session I've attended, something like that, I mark those rating scales by this reflex. Yes, I maybe will give an excellent if it's an obviously simple judgment. Did the tech arrive on time? Was the room comfortable and equipped for the training session? That sort of thing. But on the survey topics that are more complicated and take more effort to think about, is the website easy and clear to navigate? Did the handouts meet your learning needs? I tend to play it safer. I may mark up a high rating unless there's obviously something not completely up to snuff, but never an excellent or a perfect or a completely satisfied. If I gave the survey question more thought, I think, I'd probably find some useful room for improvement. And anyway, I don't want the presenter or the service to think they're absolutely perfect. Everybody can improve. Middle of the road is a reflex we use in thinking about politics too, about candidates and our voting decisions. But it isn't so innocuous, and the reflex doesn't serve us so well there. In fact, it can make our political outcomes in government worse, a lot worse. As a character in a movie I can't recall the name of right now said, "The middle of the road is the worst place you can be." Yeah, the traffic rushing in either direction can clip you spinning into oblivion. We think by reflex that middle of the road must be the choice because positions at either extreme must be too crazy. That's where the radical people reside. Besides, a middling opinion makes me look like I'm thoughtful, responsible, just like being an undecided voter until the last minute. It's really a matter of self-image, the image projected presumably to others as well as to ourselves. So, it's a fool's errand, I think, to look at this thing in this way when we're voting. It's not like investing cautiously so that you don't lose too much if the markets suddenly go bad. That strategy might help you maintain a minimum income you need. But in politics, it can gradually erode existing political conditions that express your values, that maintain the general welfare we all live in, while you're just trying to tread water and pat yourself on the back for being sensible. That's because being in the middle of the political spectrum begs the question, what spectrum are we talking about? If the spectrum has been drifting for a long time, it's been distorted. If it's moved to the extreme right, the middle of the spectrum is no longer even within eyesight of where left once was. It's not even represented anymore on what the people perceive the spectrum to be now. Left? Where's left? It's like the frog in the water, where the temperature is gradually being raised. If the frogs live there forever while the temperature's been rising, it doesn't sense well enough when it's reached the boiling point until it's too late. If the frog is thrown into hot water, it bloody knows it right away. The equivalent to bloody knowing it right away that you're in the middle of a drifted, distorted spectrum is knowing what your values are and using them as a reference for gauging the spectrum. If you don't start with values, then you're lost. Or as another sage said, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. Bernie exemplifies the dynamic in operation here. As polls and commentators have reported on most issues he champions, in addressing income inequality, undue influence of money in our politics, healthcare as a right, education as an investment, social justice, you name it. The American public tends to be with him. That's why he scores so highly against probable opponents. This is despite any characterization of Bernie as being extreme, a radical upstart, a so-called socialist, or worse. That characterization fits with a distorted spectrum only. Only a frog living in the water coming to a boil thinks the characterization makes any sense. So get out of the hot water. Don't cast an unthinking, reflexive, middling vote, but cast a smart one. Thanks again.